There's something unsettling about being on the road after dark. The farther you get from civilization, the quieter everything becomes. The glow of your headlights cuts through endless stretches of blackness, and suddenly every abandoned building, every lonely back road, and every figure standing on the shoulder feels just a little wrong. Tonight, we're sharing creepy road trip stories, encounters with mysterious strangers, unexplained sightings, roads that seem to lead to nowhere, and moments that left travelers shaken long after the trip was over. Some of these stories have logical explanations, others, not so much. So check your mirrors, lock your doors, and keep your eyes on the road ahead. Because out there in the darkness between destinations, there are stories that refuse to stay buried. Turn up the volume and let's hit the road.
Hello, friends and family. Welcome back to another episode of Weekly Bazaar. I'm Jessica.
I'm Montana.
And if you're new here, hi, hello. We've been waiting for you.
We've been waiting. On our podcast, we dive into the bizarre, spooky, and the unexplained. From true crime and paranormal encounters and strange mysteries, we explore the stories that don't quite fit anywhere else. Each week, one of us deep dives research while the other reacts in real time. So, if you're into weird stories and good vibes, you're in the right place. New episodes every Sunday. Make sure to follow and subscribe. I'm back. Nope, we're back.
Did you miss us?
We missed you.
I don't know why I keep doing salad fingers. I don't know what's up with that. If you're on YouTube, you've probably noticed too.
Okay, talk about synchronicities for a second. That's the second time I've heard salad fingers this week. No, I don't know what that is.
It is a really creepy cartoon. I don't know. I think it was in the early 2000s. I only know of it because of Dominic.
So I was in Utah for a week, had a great time, hit all the national parks, blah, blah, blah. Utah is beautiful. But it got me thinking, since we kind of did a road trip throughout Utah, that I would do scary Reddit road trip stories, especially since we were driving on Interstate 70. And apparently Interstate 70 in Utah is actually, quote, they say scary because due to like the extreme isolation, the lack of services, and the desolate terrain. Obviously, I had to look up this information, as you can tell, but it says the 106. I don't know anything about it. We were out there at night, so we were lucky, I guess, because it does sound creepy. It's a 106-mile stretch, and it's between the Green River and Salina, which we actually stayed in Salina. But it is the longest section of the U.S. interstate system without a single gas station, restaurant, or hotel.
Did you feel creepy vibes?
No, because we weren't out there at night, but I feel like if we were out there at night, then yeah, I would be a little creeped out because it's like not even lights, nothing. You're lucky to see another car. Your cell phone doesn't work that well out there. Mine sure didn't.
Yeah.
So it's pretty eerie is what it sounds like. And so that's why it also got me thinking like, So I actually got one story, the first story from talking about Interstate 70. And I got these from No Sleep, so we know what that means. Take it with a grain of salt. Up to you if it's real or not.
It's still fun. I love the No Sleep stories.
But sometimes when you read the comments and the OP responds, it makes it seem like an actual story because they're answering the questions like, yeah, this is what happened. Like, so that's where I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And some of these were from years and years ago. So I've mentioned earlier in a previous episode that I think no sleep, when it became a thing, probably was real and then turned into scary stories that people just like to write. And I
Could have
could be
been.
wrong. Could be wrong.
Just so you know, we have a Patreon. If you want to watch our bloopers, they're going to be golden this week.
Oh my God. And
They're golden every
for,
week.
that's true. And for Crone's Corner, I got some stuff to talk about on my trip.
Okay.
Utah's got some shit.
Oh,
Are we ready to dive into it?
we're ready. Let's get spooky.
So this is the first one. This is called Don't Drive Along I-70 at Night, and by Anti-High Stick 10. And this was 8 years ago.
I'm still trying to understand that 8 years ago wasn't in the 90s. It takes me a minute to realize 8 years ago was far past the 90s. That's how old I am. Anyway, please continue.
Everything is so... Okay, speaking of the 90s, I've been seeing so many kids, boys specifically, that are dyeing their hair blonde, like Eminem did, how he did it back in the 90s. So I was like, is this coming back, guys?
I think it's hilarious that they're dressing like we did when we were younger, but at the same time, there's like this whole big thing about them hating millennials.
I know.
Like,
I was like,
okay.
then quit copying it. Quit making fun of us if you're dressing like we did. But I need
Just
to
trying
know,
to be
is
as cool
Eminem
as us
coming
and
back?
can't do it. Just the 90s in general is like crazy back. Yeah, the glasses frames that were in back in the 90s are back in style. Yeah, the big baggy pants with the crop tops, it's all back.
And some
Guess
of that
who's
style
back?
wasn't...
Back again. Shady's back.
Tell a friend.
I guess he can predict the future.
I'm just, some of those
You knew
styles
that.
weren't good in the 90s and they're not good now. That's all I'm saying. That's all.
It really bothers me when I see a dude that dressed like I did back in the 90s. Like, dang, I had that outfit. Okay.
How often does this happen?
A lot now. Like, my sister and I will send each other stuff. We're like, okay, we had that outfit. Okay, we dressed like that. Because we were very alternative and we had a very unique, well, what we thought was unique back in the 90s style, which probably wasn't at all, but we were little metalheads. So we wore like the big baggy pants with combat boots and like short crop tops and our hair all twisted up in the braids and poking out everywhere. It's very, very 90s. And then you see people like that now, with kids like that now, like, dang, it really did come back around.
I'm just going to keep doing me. I'm just going to keep doing me.
Yeah.
Stylish or not, I don't care. Doesn't matter.
I'm going to get some star framed glasses just for nostalgia's sake. Wear them on here at night. Sunglasses at night.
That song came on the freaking one-hit wonder list for playing along on our road trip, and I was like, this song is so creepy.
No, is that when you send it to me?
Yeah, because it came on. Because every time I hear that song, I think of you now.
Yeah. If you know, you know. That goes way back.
Way back.
To our origins. It's our origin
like
story.
Maybe like episode 3 you've done with me. I don't know. Like that goes so way back. At the time, we didn't realize how creepy and how creepy the music video is. So
yeah, it's disturbing. So I didn't even realize until she pointed it out. I'm like, oh, yeah. Okay.
My sunglasses at night.
Okay, Fappuccino.
Now we know, if you watch the music video, why he wears his sunglasses at night. And probably he'd actually listen to the words that we never did. Anyway.
Our episodes lately aren't normally like this. We usually get right into it, but We haven't seen each other in over a week, so bear with us.
Told you, your life's
Hopefully you're
boring
entertained.
without me.
Yeah, it's so dull and drab. I can't handle it.
All right, guys, they're like, get to the point. Okay, we'll save the rest for Patreon. You can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/weeklybazaar. Let's get into
Back
the
from that
stories.
side quest.
That was a long one for us. All right, again, called Don't Drive Along I-70 at Night. Specifically, one single stretch of I-70. It's between Salina and Green River. Over 100 miles with no services. That means no hotels, no restaurants, no gas stations. Only some viewing areas where you can pull off the road. It's a hell of a drive, don't get me wrong. Those Utah mountains are stunning in the daytime, and at night you have one of the clearest views of the stars you can find. But 100 miles is a long way to go, especially at night. Anyone who has driven that stretch of interstate can tell you it's not overly busy even during the day. It's not. I can vouch for that now. Approaching dusk, cars become even more scarce. By the time the middle of the night rolls around, you can drive for miles and miles and not see the headlights from another car. And don't even get me started on cell service out there. Definitely not a place you would want to get stranded, especially at night. The thought of breaking down out there on a dark night with no one around for miles is enough to give anyone second thoughts about attempting the drive. Unfortunately for me, I was in a hurry, so I decided to go for it. A little backstory. I'm originally from a city called Lincoln, Nebraska, mostly known for the college sports teams, the Cornhuskers. Sorry, Nebraska. Oh, hey, Christian, this one's for
I was
you.
gonna say.
Christian, did you write this story? Is this you?
Possibly could be. We'll have to ask them.
Remain Rome Return podcast. Go check them out. I was born and raised there, lived there my whole life up until I was about 25. I decided that since I was single with no kids, that now was the time to get out and explore, so I accepted a job in LA and moved out west. Okay, is this Damien now? What the heck? Because he moved out
How
to
did
LA.
they? We can bring them up in almost every single episode these days. What's going on?
Weird.
Yeah.
All right, this must be Damien then, because he moved out to LA from Nebraska. Okay. Most of my family still lives in Lincoln, so I try to go back and visit every once in a while. This particular Sunday, I got a call from my mother around 2 p.m. My grandpa, who has been in a nursing home since he had his stroke, was starting to get a lot worse. They didn't expect him to make it until the end of the week, so if I wanted to get home to see him, I should do so sooner rather than later. Fortunately for me, I was recently unemployed, so I had the time to go to see him. Unfortunately for me, I was recently unemployed and the last-minute flights are expensive, so I decided to drive. I had made the drive before. It certainly wasn't fun, but it was a much cheaper option, and I figured I could try to drive all the way through. And luckily for me, I had gotten my car serviced a couple weeks prior. 2 hours later, I was packed up and on the road with my dog, Chance. Nothing happens to the dog. Just wanted to throw that out there. It was a very uneventful drive for the most part. Daylight faded, and I remembered being disappointed that I would be driving through Utah and most of Colorado at night, so I would miss out on the beautiful scenery. I love looking at stars, but it's hard to enjoy them as you're driving 80 miles an hour, and since I was in a hurry, I wouldn't be stopping to get a better look. So I resigned myself to just sing loudly to keep myself awake. A little after midnight, I finally got there, Salina, Utah. I passed the billboard warning motorists of what's to come. No bowl, no service for 110 miles. It's paid for by the city of Salina. A good thing, too. According to the gas station attendants, it happens several times each week that someone comes walking up to the building because they ran out of gas. I stopped and filled up and was immediately back on the road. It had snowed recently. The roads were clear, but there was still snow on the sides of the road. Now, I'm the kind of driver that speeds everywhere I go. The speed limit on this particular stretch of road is usually 80 miles an hour, so I'm typically going almost 90, except on the steep grades, which there are plenty. I've been driving about 30 minutes at this point. I had passed a few cars several miles ago, but they are too far back to see their headlights. Have you ever driven on a road alone late at night and just marveled at how dark it actually is and how alone you actually are?
All the time when I was younger, because I lived out in the middle of nowhere, so I had a lot of drives like that at night.
Oh, I bet. Athens is dark. Probably I can see how dark it is at night.
Mm-hmm. And on those back ass roads where you don't have any cell service, it's pretty creepy.
Some of the roads, the back roads we took, luckily we didn't do it at night, but it just was like a string with a little light bulb attached to it. And I'm like, this is supposed to light up the road? I don't understand.
That in itself sounds creepy.
Yeah. And some of the really, really back roads we would go because we went to 2 ghost towns. I'm like, one, is Ryan taking me out here to murder me because he would get away with it out here? And I kept getting like wrong turn vibes.
Ew.
So it had some creepy vibes. So I can't imagine being out there at night. There's no way.
No.
Because if anyone knows what a ghost town is, it's a ghost town for a reason.
Yeah. And who knows who's set up camp in those kind of places too. Ugh. Humans are just as scary.
Yeah, they are. Sometimes when I'm on a drive like that and when I get to a long straight stretch of road, I like to turn my headlights off as I'm driving, just for a few seconds, just to see what it really looks like when there's almost no light around. It's almost cathartic. I don't do that.
Not advised. I'll just say that. Not advised.
No. Suddenly, as I'm driving, I hear a loud pop. The car jerks to the right, or maybe it was to the left, I can't remember. My low tire pressure indicator is flashing and I slam on my brakes after I slowly straighten the car out. I pull over to the side of the road and I put on my emergency lights. Chance is going nuts. I've blown a tire before, so I already know what to expect as I step out of the car. My right front tire is completely flat. I try to look at the tire. Actually reminds me of Jeepers Creepers. I think the second one where they're on the bus and he like throws his pointed thing out there and it pops the tire.
Oh, I need to watch that again. I have seen that, but I can't remember much about it. Jeepers,
Yeah, I think it's the second one.
Creepers, where'd you get those peepers?
First one's the best. My right front tire is completely flat. I try to look at the tire more closely to see what actually happened, but even with the flashlight on my phone, it's still too dark. I check my phone. No service, of course. I roll down the rear passenger window so Chance can stick his head out and get some fresh air while I replace the tire. I get to work, grumbling under my breath that of course I'm just about halfway to Green River and I'll have to go the rest of the way on a spare tire, which would significantly slow me down. I remove the spare tire and the jack from the trunk and went to get started. As I walked back up to the front of the car, I froze. Someone was walking towards me, their silhouette barely visible at the very edge of my headlights. Chance hadn't made a sound. They continued walking until they were about 30 feet from the front of the car. I couldn't make out any distinct features, just that they were tall. 6'5", maybe 6'6". At this point, no cars had passed me going east since I had pulled over, so after the initial shock of seeing another person, my first thought was, where did this person come from? They just stood there.
The hills
have eyes.
Have eyes.
They just stood there, unmoving, staring at us. Chance still hasn't made a sound, but now he's staring at the figure ahead, too. I won't lie to you, boys and girls. I was scared shitless.
There's nothing more terrifying than when your dog is looking at something and
like
you
not
know
even barking.
That they're locked in. Yes.
Like, even they're scared.
So scary.
Yes. Like I told you, my friend snuck in my house and when I was going up the steps and he couldn't see from around the corner, so Bentley did. And he popped his head around the corner and turned around like, nope, and ran away. So I was terrified because I didn't know what was happening. But
Oh my gosh.
so I know exactly how he feels right now. And your dog gives up on you.
Kira didn't give up on me, but the time that those people played a prank on me at my house, I've talked about it a couple times on here. And there was some dude standing at my back kitchen door, and she saw him before I did. And she was, what I could see was her like locked in like a wolf almost stance, and her hair was standing straight up on her back. I'm like, no, this is not good. This is not good.
Tony, I'm going to bed.
Night. See you later.
Who was this person? Where did they come from? Why are they just staring at me? Why isn't Chance barking at them like he does at everything else that moves? I put the spare tire down and hesitantly speak. Hello? I ask, still hoping that my eyes are playing tricks on me. No response. Didn't move a muscle. It was under 10 degrees and they weren't even shivering despite appearing as though they had walked there from out of nowhere. Hello? I ask again, a little louder this time. At this point, I'm starting to wonder if this person requires assistance more than I do. I open my mouth to speak again when finally I hear something. Do you need help? The man asks faintly. For the first time, I can tell it's a man based on the voice, not as deep of a voice as you would expect from a man his size, which strikes me as odd. He still hasn't moved.
No,
Where did
you?
Bye.
Like, nope, I don't need any help.
I'm good.
I'm good.
I'll walk. It's fine. I'll walk.
I was just going that way. Thanks.
100 more miles. Easy walk. It's flat. Where did you come from? I ask. I didn't see any taillights in front of me, and no one has even passed me since I pulled over. How long have you been out here? I start walking towards the front of my car slowly, the tire iron clenched in my hand. The man made no visible movements, but again I hear, do you need help? I stop walking and try to get a better look at the man. I still couldn't make out any physical features, but I could tell he wasn't dressed for winter weather. I was in sweatpants and a winter jacket, and I was still cold. But here, this man is with pants on, wearing a short-sleeved shirt of some kind. He kept his face pointing downward the whole time. At this point, I'm really starting to freak out. This time, his voice sounded wrong, as if he was struggling with each word. I started inching my way around the front of my car to the driver's side door. If nothing else, I could get in the car and lock the doors. I still had the tire iron, but I've never thought of myself as a physically impressive person. And I knew that if it came down to that, this tire iron may not help me overcome the difference in stature. Just like throw it at him and run.
It's funny how, like, when I'm walking Kira at night, which I am not fond of, but whenever she has the shits, I have to do that. And it's funny how you play scenarios in your mind. So I'm always like, okay, if somebody is behind me or walks up behind me, how would I handle this situation? And I always think that I would just disconnect her leash and like wrap it around their neck or something. Like I could actually do that.
Like a fucking lasso?
Yeah, because that's all I have with me. I'm like, shit, I'm gonna strangle this person out, choke them out. Or just bite their neck, like bite their jugular. That's another thought I have. I'm like, just use my teeth.
Just like someone like pops open their curtain and just see you with like lassoing like a cowboy trying to...
Yeah, I don't know why. That's the first thing that comes to mind.
I'm a freezer. I just be like, I think I would freeze. My dogs are, they're senior citizens. They're useless.
Yeah, Kira would be excited. She thinks everybody's a friend. Unless it's another dog.
Hey, if we're going down a dark alley, I don't think I want to be with you.
I'll get us both killed. I don't know. You might be safe. I can get feisty.
Just whip him with a leash.
I used to fight boys in school.
Oh my god.
Get the claws out.
Hey, you know what? We've never been in that situation, and pray that we never have to be in that situation. So,
yes.
I don't know what I would do. Maybe have more strength in us, and I'm giving ourselves credit for.
I feel like the key is the sneak attack. Like, let them think you're all like scared and not gonna do anything, and then when they least expect it, just lash out and bite their neck.
Yeah, or in reality, you're trying to get the leash off Kira, and you're like, Kira, stay still, hold on. Hold on.
And it's too late. I'm toast.
So to be fair, a tire iron, very good weapon in this situation. You can do some damage.
Yeah.
So good on you. Don't let it go.
Way to bring it back from the side quest.
He spoke again. Do you need help? Do you need help? Do you need help?
Ew. No, I don't.
I'm walking, remember?
Oh, God.
His voice is becoming more urgent, as if he's panicking. He finally takes a step towards me. One step. One long step. Still repeating, do you need help? Do you need help? His tone is getting more urgent now. He's speaking faster. I quickly move around the car and find the driver door handle. Just as I'm about to pull it open, a light appears behind me. I instinctively turn around and look to see headlights coming my way down the interstate. Chance starts barking loudly. I whip back around, expect to see the man closing in on me. He's gone. Chance is still barking. Hello? I yell out. Nothing. No breathing, no movement. Do you need help? In response, I stand there for a couple seconds, unsure. The car coming from behind passes me. They don't stop. I can't blame them. Would you stop for a random car on the side of a desolate road? I didn't even think about waving them down. I'm still trying to process what happened. Did I imagine it?
Would you stop for somebody on a desolate road?
No,
they were
but
broken down.
No, but we hitchhiked in Utah.
You did? Oh my God.
Yeah. We'll talk about it on Patreon, but basically we got in this guy's truck and I was like, well, this is a horror movie at its finest.
I'm so glad you didn't tell me that. I would have been flipping the hell out.
Obviously, I'm still here.
Yeah, I don't know that I would stop either. Even if I wasn't alone, I don't know if I would. Is that horrible? Is that where we are now? But you just never know.
No, because one, you're being safe, and I feel like sometimes safety has to be the number one priority. Two, you could always call the police or something and say, hey, there's a car stranded on the side of the road and somebody's out there, you know.
Yeah, I'm just too leery of anything. Like I had to take Kira out multiple times yesterday because she had the shits. Story of my freaking life. And there was this random kid working on his car down the road from my house, and he'd been there all day, and like every time I would walk past, he was like looking up over his open hood at me. I'm like, what is this dude doing? Is he scoping me out? Like, is he scoping out the neighborhood, seeing people's like when they come and go or something? Because he was literally there all day under his hood. I'm like, this doesn't seem right to me. So I come back to the house and I ask Dom, I'm like, have you seen that guy before? He's like, yeah, he lives right over there. Like, oh, okay.
Get that leash ready. Just in case.
That would hurt though, honestly. If you smacked somebody with the little hook thing on the leash, that would hurt.
Yeah, but to actually lasso someone, you know how much practice you need to actually do that? You've been watching too much Yellowstone. Did they do that on
No.
Yellowstone? I have no idea.
I never finished Yellowstone. I probably
I
should
never
have. It
watched
wasn't
it.
horrible. I got super annoyed by the chick. I don't know. I think most people love her, but she was annoying to me
No
anyway.
idea.
Boy, we're really going on the side quests today.
If you're new here, sorry. I walk ahead, approaching the area where the man was standing. Footprints in the snow. They begin where the man was standing, stretching into the distance down the road. I still have my tire iron, and I turn on the flashlight on my phone and follow the footsteps. 10 feet outside of the range of my headlights, they turn. Now, I'm not stupid enough to go following footsteps through the Utah wilderness in the middle of the night, but damn it, was I curious. More headlights coming up from behind brought me back to my senses. I went back to the car, changed the tire, and was back on my way, at a much slower pace. The rest of the trip was as uneventful as the beginning, and I didn't feel the need to mention the encounter to anyone. Nothing bad had happened. Sure, it was freaky, but I still wasn't altogether convinced that I hadn't imagined the whole thing. It was late, and I had been driving for almost 9 hours straight. But I'll tell you one thing for sure, I definitely don't want to drive that way at night again to find out.
I wouldn't either.
I think it was an SW. Because they're like mimicking maybe something they've heard before, and those are the only words that it can say.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And how it it doesn't sound like it could understand social cues at all to keep saying it over and over and over like that.
Yeah, and bitch, you in Utah. SW Ranch is not that far. Think about that for a minute.
Very true.
Okay, so we decided that I'm just going to pick some random ones, and if you want a part 2 to do these long ones that have the most upvotes as like a series, then I will do them. Just let us know. So
Yeah,
I'll just pick random ones for now. And they're random because I like to be surprised too, like I've said.
Yeah, we used to do episodes here and there like this a lot, where we just pick random shit and laugh and have a good time about it.
Yeah.
It's nostalgic.
Okay, let's see. Let's just pick this one. This is, there are some rest stops you should always avoid during road trips.
Very true. Did I tell you about my creepy road trip story?
I don't think so.
This was from before I met Tony, actually. So I was like 19, I think. And I went with my roommates to Amelia Island in Florida. And we wanted to go to the island, and I can never remember the name of it, but it has wild horses running free on it, which was really cool.
Oh,
we did
wow.
get to see them, but we didn't go to the actual island, but we got to see them from one of those like ferry tour things. I don't think it was a ferry, but like a duck tour thing. Anyway, so Amelia Island is where we stayed, and it was just a campground. So we just brought a tent, and every night we were hanging out, drinking, doing whatever. And in a couple campsites down from us, there was this dude who would just sit at his picnic table at night with one candle on the table, and he was like laying cards down, and he'd just keep laying cards, and he'd say something every time he'd lay the cards down. And we're like, yeah, this is going to end in murder. Like, he's going to kill us all. He never did anything, but it was really scary in the moment. Like,
were they like tarot
he was
cards?
a weirdo. Oh yeah, yeah. We ended up sleeping. We ended up sleeping in the car and locking ourselves in there one night because we're like, this dude is just waiting for us to go to sleep so he can off us all or something. But it was super creepy. And he was there every night we were there, and he would do the same thing just for hours, just sitting there and flipping the card, and we couldn't really hear what he was saying, but I'm sure it wasn't good, whatever it was. Very creepy.
Interesting. Leonarda, is that you?
No, don't bring up the soap lady. Don't bring her up. No more.
The soap lady. Alright, so this is, I don't know why my so sounded like that.
So.
So listen, guys.
I wonder if we talk like this, if we get more views and listens. Maybe get the vocal fry going.
I can't do it. I'm not even gonna pretend to try.
No, please don't.
This is by Weird Bryce Guy. Again, this is called There Are Some Rest Stops You Should Always Avoid During Road Trips. The road trip began like any other. We sang along to popular songs on the radio, despite both of us having music app subscriptions. We ate snacks, both things we brought, and other treats acquired from gas stations and fast food restaurants along the way. We slept at motels when available, at rest stops when not, spotted cows, horses, tractors, and scarecrows, and even helped another car. Two brothers even dislodged their gaudy two-seater from a muddy ditch. It was a fun, pleasantly eventful trip, and the final night, when everything was taken from me.
Oh.
Dark.
Yeah, that got dark fast.
Welcome to Weekly Bazaar. I was sleeping in the back of the SUV using a knapsack of t-shirts as a pillow. There, my guy. Been there. Multiple times. When I heard Brandon call out from outside the car, he'd gone to grab something from one of the vending machines in front of the rest stop, saying before leaving that he'd probably also sit at the bench there for a while and watch a few YouTube clips on his phone. He'd forgotten his earphones, and I hadn't brought mine, and he didn't want to keep me up with his phone's speakers. Hearing his voice through my dreamless sleep, I woke fairly quickly, being a light sleeper, and left the vehicle, not bothering to lock it because our car was the only one in the lot. Guided by the almost annoyingly bright lights tucked beneath the building's awning, I made my way to the open-ended corridor with the vending machines and bench. Ignoring the various stains on the concrete floor, some of which were unbelievably black, I rounded the corner and entered the corridor, whose opposing walls held men's and women's restrooms, with the vending machines on the women's side and the bench against the men's. That's a long sentence.
The men's.
Men's. Behind these was the opposite side of the rest stop's general grounds, where there were barbecue pits and large picnic tables, all of which were hidden by the darkness of the moonless night. I called out to Brandon, then stopped, admittedly frightening myself with how loud my voice sounded in the surprisingly echoic confines of the corridor.
That's how I always feel when I go to edit. Like, why is my voice so freaking loud? What the hell?
Papa, can you hear me? Assuming Brandon has simply gone into the bathroom immediately after calling me, I waited in front of the vending machines. I hadn't been hungry earlier since I'd been, sleeping, but standing before the display of sugary and salty treats, I suddenly found myself craving some cookies. I withdrew a crumpled dollar from my pocket, smoothed it out of my jeans, and inserted it into a cash slot, selecting a bag of cream cookies to satisfy my slightly more predominant sweet tooth. As I bent to retrieve the bag from the bottom compartment, I noticed something in the reflection of the vending machine's glass. An object beneath the bench behind me. There was something unusually familiar about the object, something I recognized even in the grimy reflection. Turning momentarily, forsaking my snack, which had fallen in the very back of the compartment and would have required a few seconds of straining to reach it, I went to investigate the oddly familiar object. Crouching and ignoring the sudden pain that accompanied the rare utilized posture, I reached under the bench and pulled out the object. I held it in my hand and stared at it for several moments, as my brain first performed various processes of confirmation, not initially believing the stimuli fed to it by my eyes. When it finally accepted the visually fed information, it put my body into a state of immediate full-blown panic and ordered my lungs and vocal cords to project my brother's name in a voice that I barely recognized as my own. A shriek, a pleading terror. I sprang up from my crouched position, wailing my brother's name, no longer minding the sound of my own voice echoed back to me by those sallow, questionably stained walls. Without even the slightest moment of hesitation, I charged into the men's bathroom, kicked open each stall, and upon finding them all empty, I went out and did the same to the women's restroom. Faced with the same awful vacancy, I returned to the hall and cried out my brother's name again, shouting it into the night, which returned only my own voice, as if mocking me. Hysterical, still clutching the object I'd found, I sprinted to our car, still the only one in the lot, threw open the driver's door, tossed aside food wrappers and clothes, and pulled free our flashlights from a bag of road trip necessities. I called out again, and in case he'd somehow managed to make it to the side of the building, then went back to the corridor, performed one final search of both restrooms, and they ran at first blindly into the area out back, with the barbecue pits and tables, only turning on the flashlight after slipping on a grease stain and nearly breaking my neck. I waved the flashlight around, cutting through the shadows with a wonderfully powerful beam, going at first in a haphazard and sporadic manner, and there more methodically after finding nothing but concrete and rusted metal in the highlighted areas. Inch by inch, I searched the grounds, occasionally calling out Brandon's name when I heard a sound, even while knowing the source was nothing more than a startled bird or heavily bodied insect. I must have spent 10 or 15 minutes searching what could have been more than a concrete pavilion of 200 square feet, morbidly expecting in a desperation-induced mania to find my brother curled up or crammed in some corner or hole. The thing I had found beneath the bench, the object I clung to as I searched, while breathlessly croaking my brother's name, was his jaw. His bloody, detached lower jaw, lips and tongue and teeth included.
Oh, hell no. Not good.
It's not expecting that.
No. What the hell happened?
Without having consciously commanded my legs to make the motions, I went into running into the field beyond the rest stop. The beam bobbing uselessly before me, I felt sick physically and mentally, and practically howled my brother's name like some lunatic who successfully escaped from an asylum. I was in those darkly traumatic moments, deranged, totally unhinged by shock, and an all-consuming, nauseating terror. Reaching the end of the lawn, only dimly aware of the depth of my exhaustion, I cast the beam left, right, and forward, illuminating a dismal nothingness of farmland in each direction. Not wanting to stop, I turned and ran, against the painful, spasming protest of my thighs, back to the site of the rest stop, where I once again dispelled the ever-present shadows with my flashlight and finding only the same faded and stained surfaces. It was only when I stopped to rest, for only a second, of course, on the bench that my brain allowed me the use of its most basic cognitive abilities. I remembered in a moment which felt almost comically profound that I had a cell phone, that my brother had one as well, and I should attempt to call him, and if I couldn't reach him, then the police.
Didn't he already find his jawbone and shit? I'm confused. How are you going to call him? He's not going to be able to talk to you.
No, oh, I see what you're saying, that my brother had one as well, and that I should attempt to call him.
Did you just find parts of his body?
Yeah, I'm a little confused by that too.
Was I not listening properly?
No,
I'm confused.
Well, let's see what happens. After failing to dial his number 3 times and then failing to stop the scroll of my contacts on his name, I vocally ordered my phone's digital assistant to call him and then thanked her with genuine, sputtering appreciation for performing the things she'd been programmed to do. Before I could even put my phone to my ear, I heard my brother's ringtone, the default tone of his cell phone, issuing from somewhere nearby, somewhere very close. Clutching my phone in one hand and his jaw in the other, I rose from the bench and walked with a thought-dismissing dread toward the source of the sound immediately before me.
Maybe he's just wanting to find the rest of his remains?
What? You gonna pick up his jaw? He obviously can't answer. He has no jaw.
Hello?
Oh.
Yes. Is this you? It's so fucked up and dark.
Oh, we're morbid. Okay. Maybe they still think their brother's alive, even they don't have half their face?
Maybe. Oh, yeah. Maybe he thinks he might be suffering somewhere. Didn't think about that.
No, because you only think about yourself.
If only.
As I mentioned earlier, there were two vending machines. I had plenty of water earlier the night, so I hadn't even glanced at the second vending machine, which held only drinks. My attention had been drawn to and immediately focused upon the machine with the snacks, which had just been recently and plentifully stocked with all manner of chips and cookies, and jerkies and candies and nuts. And still, even if it hadn't been, even if there'd been nothing but a solitary bag of cookies in the first vending machine, I don't think my mind would have allowed me to see the contents of the other vending machine. I simply wouldn't have been able to process it. I hadn't processed it in my peripheral vision while standing right next to it earlier the night.
Let me guess. Body parts.
Oh. Now, standing in front of the vending machine, slack jawed and enormously horrified, my eyes scanned each item nestled behind the backwardly hooping metal rings. Just like with the jaw, it took me a few moments to really process the sight, to fully consciously accept what I was seeing. I failed to notice the appearance of a stranger behind me. I only noticed his departure seen through the eerily clear reflection of the vending machine's front surface, eerily clear considering the items on display behind it.
What's with all these dudes skulking in the shadows? Can we stop doing that, please?
It's probably the
Fucking
tarot card
creepers.
guy.
Seriously. Ew, what if he was like killing people and then would come back to the campsite after? Never
Also,
thought about that.
oh, that's true. I can't tell if this doesn't make sense. To what would have been the dismay of fathers everywhere? I carelessly dropped the costly flashlight into the concrete and picked up the thing that had been left for me by the reflectively glimpsed stranger. It was a brown plastic bag, a bit heavy, with a note duct taped to its front. Awkwardly, unwilling to let go of my brother's jaw, I appended the bag with my free hand, dumping its contents on the stain-ridden floor. Coins surged and scattered, some rolling beneath the vending machines, other into the adjacently placed restrooms. At the bottom of the bag was an outfit, familiar but shredded t-shirt and an equally familiar stained pair of pants. I held onto those, gripping them through the bottom of the bag. I reread the note, eyed the general mass of change, and then turned again to the vending machine. I totaled the collective cost of the items, 16 in all, and then began gathering the coins, dumbly cradling them in my trembling fist, which I had delicately relieved of the bag and its blood-stained contents. I then rose, faced the vending machine, whose contents had been noticeably chilled in the machine's refrigeration system, and inserted the 85 cents required for the first item in the A1 slot. I watched the item fall to the bay. I stared at it for a few moments and then turned my attention to A2. I completed this process until I purchased every last item and then scooped them all out from the bay into the plastic bag. Bringing it to the bench, I sat down and after a moment of utter thoughtlessness, stuttered out a command to my phone's digital assistants to call the police. It was only after explaining to the emergency operator what had happened that I finally started to cry. The tears and total presence of my mind abruptly and overwhelmingly supplanting the former numbness. The note that had been affixed to the bag of coins read, quote, "To get yourself a snack," end quote. The snacks being the various severed and torn body parts of my brother who had been, with nightmarish inhumanity, murdered, butchered, and incorporated into the inventory of the second vending machine. And that's the story.
I don't know why he would have touched anything or taken it. Like, that is, you call the police first. It's a crime scene, bud.
I mean, the moment you hold your brother's jaw in your hand,
911.
That should have been your first clue, but instead, let's call the brother that has no jaw that can't talk instead.
Yeah, that's pretty twisted though.
That's creepy, but that one's definitely a no sleep story, I feel.
Oh, for sure.
All right, so we'll do one more. This is Una Mas. This is Road Trip Chills by Grumpy Guava. Same.
Oh, that's my neighbor lady's dog's name. Guava.
Guava.
So cute.
Growing up, I've always found myself attracted to supernatural occurrences. I had a love-hate feeling towards it, hoping that something creepy and unexplainable would happen to me while also being scared that someday it really just might. Despite how I felt, life has a way of catching on and making you regret what you wish for. Just a little backstory first. I lived with a girlfriend in Austin. She goes to UT Austin and I just graduated. So it was her spring break, and we had planned a pleasant road trip to the Grand Canyon with 3 other people. We knew the drive was going to take at least 15 hours, so we all had a good night's sleep and took off first thing in the morning. So everything was completely normal throughout the day. We each took 4-hour shifts, driving and stopping whenever someone needed a pee break or some fast food. We put on Drake's new album and played corny road trip games. It was a blast. Towards the last...
Synchronicity.
What?
My sister literally just sent me a Drake song, and I hate Drake. She said it to me, and I'm like, ew, Drake. Anyway, just another synchronicity.
I don't listen to Drake.
Yeah, me either.
So everything was completely normal throughout the day. We each took 4-hour shifts, driving and stopping whenever someone needed a pee break or some food. We put on Drake's new album and played corny road trip games. It was a blast. Towards the last few hundred miles to our hotel, we booked in the Grand Canyon. It was my turn to drive, and that's when things started to become really, really creepy. By then, we have already driven 13 hours, give or take, so everyone was exhausted. All 3 of my friends were knocked out in the back seat, while my girlfriend was barely staying awake to keep me company, so I wouldn't fall asleep either. We were a few hundred miles from the nearest town, and the vast darkness that surrounded us was becoming more and more eerie each minute that passed. It must have been at least 2 hours ago that I saw another car pass us on the lonely highway, and I felt myself dozing off. I turned on the high beams for a clearer vision, and that's when I heard a soft gasp. My heart raced as my eyes locked on the silhouette a few miles ahead of us that was illuminated by our high beams. As we drove closer and closer, I could start to see what it was. "Is that a kid?" my girlfriend said softly. I could hear the discomfort in her voice, and it made me just as uneasy.
BEK?
BEK.
Black Eyed Kid?
Oh. Ooh. Ooh. Ooh.
You can't take anything seriously.
Oh, you haven't seen Hocus Pocus, but I think she says like children. She's like, ugh.
Can't relate.
Me too. Many thoughts are going through my mind now. It's 1 a.m. on a desert highway. The nearest town is 100 miles away. What in God's earth is a kid doing way out here? We have to stop and see.
Just don't let him in.
That's true. Don't let him in.
Don't let him in.
We have to stop and see if he needs help. I begin waking up my friends just as I'm about to pull over. Why are we stopping? There's a kid on the side of the road. Their faces turn grim. What the fuck is a kid doing out here? We have to find out. I get out of the car. My girlfriend tells me to be careful. My friends nod at me in agreement. Go check it out. Bye. The kid is a few meters ahead of where we pulled over. I leave the high beams on because without it, I would be consumed by darkness. I start walking towards the kid, and I slowly begin to see more and more of the kid. It was a girl. No more than 11 years old would have been. That's my guess. She had long black hair and was wearing a cute little dress, way too clean and well groomed for the setting we were in. I could feel her stare right at me as I walk up, but she does not move a muscle. She makes no indication that she sees me coming. At this point, I'm a bit scared. I call out to her, "Hi, do you need help, little girl? Where are your parents?" Nothing. Her face is calm, her eyes locked to mine. "Do you need help?" I ask again. Nothing. I decided I need to get closer to her because she might be feeling too scared to say or do anything. Just as I'm about to walk closer, the car lights flicker and turn off. My heart must have skipped 5 beats because suddenly it was pitch black. The lights then turned back on. It must have only been half a minute, but the kid was suddenly gone, vanished. I raced back to my car and asked my girlfriend and my friends if they know what happened or saw anything. I knew the answer to my question was the look on their faces. Needless to say, they were all just spooked as I was. "Babe, this is too strange. Let's just drive away. Hurry up." Murmurs of mutual agreement from my friends. I quickly got in the car and started to drive away, but as I did, I caught a glimpse of the little girl in my rearview mirror. She was behind the car now, and despite the darkness of the night, I could make out a tiny little smile on her face.
Oh, hell no. I don't think she was a BEK, though, because aren't they supposed to be kind of dirty? Like, their clothes are always kind of messy. And he said she was really clean.
Yeah. I don't think it was either.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, like, people comment, like, what highway did this happen on? I live in Arizona, about an hour from the Grand Canyon, and the, like, OP said they'd never pay attention to highways, just always, like, GPS on the phone. And this person said, "Why the fuck did you stop? Are you stupid?"
Yeah, I don't know. I may have stopped too, though, for a child being alone. Ugh, that's a tough one. I guess I'd have to be in the moment to really know what I'd do.
I would keep going. Jessica, get that leash ready.
Well, guys, I hope that you're glad we're back because we missed you and we're glad you're here. Thank you for all your continued support. We appreciate each and every one of you. You can find us on all the social medias at Weekly Bizarre Podcast. Email us if you have any stories you'd like us to share, weeklybizarrepodcast@gmail.com. You can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/weeklybizarre. We post things on there mostly every week unless we're taking vacations or something like that. We're usually pretty consistent every single week with blooper reels. We do some extra banter on there, even though you guys got a lot of that today on this episode. But if you like that kind of thing, that's usually what we do over there on Patreon. So if that sounds like something you want to check out, hit us up over there. Stay spooky.
Stay safe.
Yeah, stay spooky, stay safe. If you're going on a road trip, don't stop. Keep going. Do not stop. What's the Monopoly? Like, do not stop. Pass, go. Something like that. Or pass. I can't remember what the hell it is. It's been so long since I played that game. But anyway, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And we will see you next week. If it's weird,
we're going to talk about it.
Bye. Bye.